Good morning. Thank you, Brian. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There's the mic. Yay. Would the would the party goers in the foyer join us? Thank you. You know, one of my favorite things that happens here is the liveliness of the conversations and how much we like to spend time together and greet each other. So there's a little magic that happens in that foyer both before and after a service. Well, welcome to Unity of Fort Collins this morning. We're glad to have you. We've got a welcome team that loves to put a welcome packet in the hands of folks who are here for the first time, or if you haven't seen one of the welcome packets. Is there anybody who would like to put their hand up that would receive a packet right in that hand? Anybody this morning? Well, if you still want a packet but didn't want to put your hand up, they're available after the service, so we'd love to have you see a Unity welcome packet. Welcome to the folks online. We've got a big old contingent of folks that follow us. More than 100 clicks on our newsletter every week, 40 to 70 views online. So we are a bigger community than we know. So blessings to our larger community. We have a guest speaker today, guest Unity minister, Todd Humphrey, who's traveling through. He contacted us some time ago and said, I'm coming through. Would you like a speaker? And we said, well, yes, we would. So that's wonderful. Todd is an ordained Unity minister and has his own church in North Carolina. So we welcome him today. Brian continues to offer his big piano for us at the service this morning. Yeah, thank you. It's a really big piano that flies through the fingers of the big man at the piano. So that's a wonderful thing. We have a council meeting this afternoon after the service. So we do this once a month, and part of what's on the agenda today is to further clarify our team's approach, try and work some of the bugs of communication out of that, and we'll be talking about our visioning of the future music programs. So what would our future music program look like? And what would inspire and grow our connection through our music program. So that's on the agenda this afternoon. 2 announcements today. Leanne, you want to come talk about the chili cook-off? I'm going to win the veggie one.
We'll see about that. I personally selected the judges. So. The judges won't see anybody's name associated with any entry. So the chili cook-off is next week, and just through some logistical whatever, we're not perfect. We're very human and authentic here. We didn't get our sign-up sheet passed around last week, so I still need people to sign up to enter chili. That's on page 1. On page 2 is an opportunity for you to sign up to bring side dishes. And side dishes could be grated cheese, sour cream, cornbread, whatever. And then I'm still looking for folks to help set up and clean up, and those are also on page 2. So I'm going to start the clipboard here, pass it around, and please make sure it comes back up to the front so that everybody has an opportunity. And then what we'll do is share lunch together next week. For the rest of the folks who aren't participating or competing, like Ann and I, you can just come and have lunch. You can give a love offering, and we'll share a nice warm chili lunch on a cold day, and it'll smell terrific in here next week. Thank you.
Remember the setup and cleanup part. That's the hardest one. But if your cleanup's easy, I'll stay for cleanup. Setup's easy. Well, I'll do that. Okay. Sharon, do you want to talk about your class?
This Thursday, we are starting a new class on Zoom, 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. It's Unity Basics. So before you go and think, I've been in Unity for 35 years, I know. I just need to ask you, do you live by the 5 principles? Because this class isn't just going to tell you about the 5 principles. We're going to really delve into deeply how we live them, because they are life-changing when you do. So sign up online, or let Julie know, or my phone number's on the back of the bulletin. Let me know, and I will send you some workbook papers, because you're going to have work to do. And the question at the end of each week is going to be, what was your moment closest to God this week? And that's part of knowing our 5 principles. So I'd love to have all of you on Zoom with me. Thanks, Anne.
One more big announcement. Our youth and family program is having a fun night. Family Friday night, carving pumpkins, food, costumes, no matter what your age. So come play. And our youth and family program, we just have a bunch of committed parents, committed kids, volunteers. Come play. All right. Thank you so much. Let's take a big, old, deep breath. And let's get centered in our service today. Join me in the unity blessing. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world. Thank you all.
I'd invite everybody to stand if you're comfortable with that. Turn to your neighbor and say, "You're marvelous."
You're marvelous.
We're going to sing this song through a couple of times, and then we're going to do a little experiment. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Okay, this time through we're going to do it in rounds. And Julia, follow Julia if you're on that side of the auditorium, and follow me, and we're going to start if you're on this side. My side ready? You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
I hold you in my heart.
I hold you in my heart.
You are a part of me.
You are a part of me.
You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
You are are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
I hold you in my heart.
I hold you in my heart.
You are a part of me.
You are a part of me.
You are the face. One more time.
You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
I hold you in my heart.
I hold you in my heart.
You are a part of me.
You are a part of me.
You are the face of God.
You are the face of God.
Good morning, friends. This reading comes from a blog that was posted in October of 2018 by Reverend Anna Schaus and the Unity Church of Austin. The title of this blog is called Rocketed into the Fourth Dimension. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into the fourth dimension of existence, which we have not even dreamed. The fact is just this, and nothing less, that we have had a deep and effective spiritual experience which has revolutionized our whole attitude towards life, toward our fellows, and towards God's universe. Are you ready to be rocketed into a more profound understanding of your spiritual identity, one that will revolutionize your whole attitude towards life, your fellows, and God's universe? Is it possible? It necessitates courage and stamina on your part. Visit Space Center Houston or see the new movie First Man about astronaut Neil Armstrong's step onto the moon to get a whole new understanding of the term rocketed. Space travel is definitely not glamorous. Get this image. 2 adult humans lying on their back, each vacuum packed to a 110-pound suit, pinned in a metal can that sits atop a 150-foot rocket, which is essentially a very large bomb. When this bomb goes off, ascent begins. Look out. The ferociously bone-jarring crossing through the atmosphere way outdoes any ride on legendary Rodeo Bull Tornado. Journeying into the consciousness of pure being, the transcendent realm that Jesus called the kingdom of heavens is like that. Moving into a deeper awareness of spiritual reality shakes us up. Our prejudices, our opinions, and refusals to know we are loved get wobbled loose. It feels like jolting will never stop, but we hang in and soon are free, and now sailing in a tranquil new orbit, realization of our oneness with God and the universe and with all people. Fear melts and love flows in. We are aware of our partnership with God and more skilled at using our innate creative abilities to bring spiritual values like love, respect, hearing with heart, and joy into every day of our world. We just take this rocket trip once and we're good, right? Ask astronaut Kelly Scott, who made 4 space flights and set a record for a total accumulated days in space, including a year on the International Space Station. Every voyage gets a little bit easier because we know the rough patch is a temporary passage to more expansive and marvelous view. If we should forget that God is with us in the midst of shaking, take comfort in this. In 1969, Edwin Buzz Aldrin carried a copy of Unity's Prayer for Protection with him on that first moon landing. He and Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, got safely back to us, transformed, and we've never been the same. Thank God.
rolling river God. Little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through. So I am a stone, rough and grainy still, trying to reconcile this river's chill. When I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer would be this one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand. Sometimes raging wild, sometimes swollen high. Never have I known this river dry. The deepest part of you is where I want to stay and feel the sharpest edges wash away. And when I close my eyes, I feel you rushing by. I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer would be this one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am. See, I am not what I used to be, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand. I will be smooth after the water rushes through.
Good morning, friends. So, one of the blessings that ministers get invited to is they get to say, "Can you suggest any songs? Can you suggest any music for this talk?" And I never in my life would have come up with that incredible song, Julia. That was beautiful, and and ooh, was that me? It goes along so perfectly with what I hope to share today. This is, first, thank you for allowing me to come and share with all of you today here at Unity of Fort Collins. It is such an honor and a blessing to be able to share with all of you today. One slight correction, you were told that I'm an ordained Unity minister. I'm actually a licensed Unity minister. I'm working towards ordination. Under the careful mentorship and leadership of a number of Unity leaders and thought leaders, and one of them is Reverend Sharon. Reverend Sharon is actually, if you don't know this about Reverend Sharon, she helps lead the field ministry program and actually interviews people to find out, do they know what they're talking about? Can we turn them loose and say that, we kind of approve what they say? So we were talking, and I found out she was here, and I said, "Oh, I'm coming through." "Oh, well, hey, maybe you could speak?" "Maybe I could." And so I'm delighted to be with all of you today. I've been on this unity journey for more than 30 years. And I remember when I first started in unity and into diving into these teachings, the bookstore manager at my church said, it's called New Thought, but that makes no sense because these are not new thoughts. These are teachings that have been around for years. And that confused me. And now I really understand this, and I want everyone to know that we call this tradition a New Thought tradition because you have to have a new thought. Right? See, the tradition is called New Thought because we know that changing our thoughts is the way we have a new experience of life. Yes? Everybody say yes. Yes. You can take me out of a Pentecostal holiness church, but you can't take the Pentecostal holiness out of me. And so y'all got to talk back. So it's this idea that we have to have a new thought. And that is where we started. And I'm so excited to know that Reverend Sharon is getting ready to teach the 5 principles. I'm starting that same class in 2 weeks with my congregation. See, we are founded on this idea of new thought because Myrtle Fillmore went to hear a lecture by E.B. Weeks. She thought that she had inherited a disease at birth. And she learned this affirmation: I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit disease. I am a child of God. I do not inherit disease. That was radical thinking back when Myrtle Fillmore walked into that lecture hall to hear this new thought of truth. And now finally we're starting to understand the intersection of science and spirituality. What a beautiful reading that Matt shared with us this morning. This intersection of science and spirituality and understanding that our thoughts make things happen. And if you know anything about science, DNA, the telomeres. Does anybody know what a telomere is? Right? So if the end of your shoestring is getting frayed, it doesn't exactly do what it's supposed to do. So if the ends of your DNA get frayed, they can't do what they're supposed to do. But that doesn't automatically mean that everything in your DNA is going to come true, because some of your DNA has like little light switches. And you have to turn things on. And the way you can turn things on and the way you can turn things off is with your thinking. Is with your thinking. And so we get to help shape our experience of the events of the world. Because the events out there, anybody see anything out there in the world that they may not like very much? But see, that's an event. That's outside of you. What happens inside of you is under your control. I recently was reading the book The Divine Matrix by Greg Braden. Anyone, you've read that? It goes into this idea of this fourth dimension, this truth that, you know, I don't, has everyone walked around and looked in the classrooms? There is a poster in the kids' classroom that says the universe is inside of me. The universe is inside of me. What a wonderful thing to teach our children about this fourth dimension. And the way we connect to this fourth dimension, our 12 powers, especially our power of imagination. Yes? Yes? We get to control our experience through our thinking. But we have to choose a new thought. Because does anybody else carry around some thoughts that somebody else gave you? Maybe 50, 60, 80 years ago. And we're still learning to let those go. We're still learning how to forgive these ideas that aren't really ours. In his book, Greg Braden talks about how he went to visit several different monasteries all across Asia. And he would say, he would ask everyone, tell me about this experience of prayer that I'm watching you do. And he asked the abbot of one monastery, tell me about what's going on inside of you. We see you doing your prayers with the prayer wheel and the chanting and you know, but what's happening inside of you? And he goes, you have never seen us pray. You have seen us do what we need to do so that the prayer happens inside of us. See, our prayers are how we talk to this universe, this divine mind that is out there. And what we are doing is we are getting rid of all of the clutter that is interfering with our ability to connect with Source. Can you grasp that? That what we are doing when we pray, when we meditate, what we are doing is we are getting rid of the clutter so that we can know the truth. The truth of who we are. The truth that, as Julia's saying, it's getting rid of everything so that we can know that deepest part of spirit is where we want to stay. The deepest part is where we want to stay. Now, why is this important in a New Thought church? It's important all over the world, no matter what, because the truth is we desire an experience of prosperity. Yes? We desire an experience of prosperity. But we have to remember what prosperity is. Our prosperity is divine ideas that exist in God, in this universal mind that is showing up in expression at the point of each one of us. And so we get rid of these ideas that are low vibration ideas, these ideas that have been given to us, any idea that takes us away from the truth of who we are. And like Myrtle shared with us, I am a child of God. I am a child of God. Say that with me. I am a child of God. If you're watching online, type that into the chat. Because we all want to embody this experience. We all want to affirm the truth of who we are in every moment. Because when we get distracted from the truth, we limit our experience. Who wants a limited experience? None of us wants a limited experience. And so we get to show up and we get to make a choice every day. We get to make a choice every day. I mentioned that you could take me out of the Pentecostal church, but you couldn't take the Pentecostal church out of me. When I was 9 years old, I was sitting right over here in the third row. And it came the end of the service, and we were having an altar call. Everybody know what an altar call is? You've got to come forward. You've got to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. And you're supposed to keep your head down and bowed because you're not supposed to look up and see who comes forward. But, I was 9, and I didn't know all the rules. So I was looking around, and that preacher was pulling on the collar of an ill-fitted suit, and he was sweating and mopping his brow. And I knew in that moment that just like that suit did not fit him, that this theology did not fit me. And what I heard when I was 9 years old is that you will do this with love. Now, folks, I have to tell you, I ran from that for many, many years. And I didn't tell people that I had that experience for a long time either. Right? The difference between a mystic and a madman is who you tell. Right? So sometimes we don't admit those things that we know at the truth of who we are, at the core of our being. And what we know in unity is that Jesus did not come to save us. Jesus came to teach us, to show us the way, to tell us that divinity lives in you and as you. That you are the Christ. And so the decision we get to make every day, this altar call that we get to live in unity, when we wake up every morning, we get to choose, am I going to show up as the Christ of my being today? Am I going to take the path of love today? Or am I going to believe that I am less than a child of God? Am I going to believe that someone else is less than a child of God? And so every morning we get to recommit. We get to have this moment where we do the work and we make the decision. Because Jesus told us, the work that I do, you shall do also, when you know who you are. So we make the decision of faith, and we step into flow. We step into the divine flow. And then our prosperity shows up and just showers us with every experience, with every divine idea that we could ever desire or need. Because nothing is denied us if we await in grateful expectancy. Yes? So friends, I just want to make sure that it's not like taking that one trip in a rocket, that giant tin can that explodes into the air that we heard about this morning. It is a daily recurrence that we choose to lift up, to let fear melt, to stand with courage and with stamina, and to proclaim, I am a child of God. I am a child of God. Say that with me. I am a child of God. And as we have spoken, so it is, and so we let it be.
Our thoughts are prayers.
We are all weeping. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying.
Seek a higher consciousness.
State of peacefulness.
And know that God is always there. And
if it's comfortable, close your eyes. Relax into your seat. Relax into this moment where we sit with the truth that we are one. Regardless of location, we know that at the level of spirit, we are here together now. And the universe is inside of us. So let your breath slow a little bit. Relax your jaw and your shoulders. There is nothing that you need to do right now. There is no place you need to be. Except here in the silence, in the stillness. This place where we let go and feel the water smooth out every sharp edge. Where we rest in the flow of divine ideas. We rest in the truth that there is an unlimited wellspring of life, substance, and intelligence available right now. And so we sit here immersed in this truth for just a moment and breathe. In each moment, I make a thoughtful decision to live from love. In each moment, I have a thought-filled decision to welcome the prosperity of divine ideas into my consciousness, to welcome the truth that I am one. I am one with God, absolute, unlimited good, and unconditional love. I decide to live from the Christ of my being. I am a divine child of God. And so knowing this truth, we come back to this relative space, this limited time, noticing that our breath is more deep and slower, knowing that this stillness is inside of us and always available with every breath. And so it is.
May the blessing of God rest upon me. May His presence illuminate your heart now and forever.
Good morning. And thank you, Reverend Todd, for that inspiring message. And we sing that song to you. May God's blessing rest upon you as you continue in your ministry. And Brian Young, would you like to introduce your soloists that you have with us today?
Sure. Everybody give a warm unity welcome to Julia Wilson.
Good.
Julia and I actually met at a church in Denver on an open mic night. And I played a few numbers for her, and we never rehearsed ahead of time. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but it... So, yeah, I've gotten to play for her several times, and she sings in different churches in the area. So we appreciate you.
And thank you, Julia. Well, folks, it's time for our offering. A very sacred time when we get to share from the wealth and abundance of our being. So I'd invite you to take your offering and just hold it in your hands and just let that prayer be one of thankfulness as we say our offering blessing. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
See trees that are green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Feel free to sing along if you want to. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I will ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? What they're really saying is, I love you. Think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky. They're also on the faces of those people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? What they're really saying is, I love you. I see trees that are green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, ooh, what a wonderful world.
Wow, Julia. You can come and sing for us anytime. And you certainly don't need no practice, do you? Julie, do we have kids in the hallway? Oh, they're doing more important things. So, as we close our service today, I remind you there's things happening afterwards, right? What's happening? We've got a council meeting, and you're invited to attend that meeting. And we also have a lunch bunch. So somebody's going to tell us where we're going to go today. Arlene? So go to that back corner, gather around Arlene, and some of you are going to the Rio. I hope that many of you will go. And by the way, do we have any visitors that kind of snuck in last moment? No? Okay. We want to make sure everyone's acknowledged. So let's go ahead and circle up, and we have our prayer, protection, and the peace song. So together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Yes, there is peace on earth. Yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to